Now you might be surprised to learn there is another air system on all combustion engines, both diesel and petrol, that enters the engine via the air intake with no filter in place. Let's take a look and follow the intake pipe. It leads to the turbo, through the intercooler, onto the intake manifold before it enters the engine. Now let me remove this hose right here on the diesel. I'm going to do the same on the petrol engine. Both hoses connect into the air intake system, but notice they are well past the protective air filter that I just replaced. If we trace these hoses back, they will connect near the top of the engine via a PCV or positive crankcase ventilation valve. During the combustion process, gases and pressure build up in the crankcase. Without the positive crankcase ventilation system, pressure build-up on the seals like this one behind the crankshaft pulley would eventually leak. Engineers working to deliver improved emission controls created this closed-loop crankcase ventilation system. It results in the crankcase gases being burnt in the combustion process, reducing harmful emissions whilst also controlling the crankcase pressure. The solution fixed one problem, but it did create another. Take a look at what passes through this system. This material was captured in a Ryco catch can fitted within the crankcase ventilation system on a Ford Ranger with 40,000 kilometres on the clock. This build-up of material is from 10,000 kilometres of driving. Without the catch can, everything you saw pouring out would have entered the air intake system with no filtration. Pretty alarming, isn't it? Now you might ask, why wasn't a catch can fitted from the factory? Extra cost is likely an answer. But also, the issues of not having a catch can take time before they present themselves. Let's take a bore scope and inspect this GDI petrol engine with around 60k on the clock. I'm sending the scope down through the intake manifold and in behind the intake valves. Over the last 60,000 kilometres, the gunk that we saw from the crankcase ventilation system has helped to line the walls of the intake. Mixing with fuel, air, crankcase and exhaust gas vapours, it has developed into carbon. It's now stuck to the back of these intake valves and more than likely on the pistons and piston rings. With this build-up, the airflow is now being disrupted entering the combustion chamber. The engine has likely developed a miss, which impacts fuel economy, and slowly the engine's performance is going backwards. All the while, this carbon is getting harder and harder, and eventually, to remove the build-up, this engine will need to be pulled down. Now, just like replacing the air filter, there is a solution to this issue: a Ryco catch can. It's like a piece of OEM equipment that should have been installed when you first purchased the vehicle. In fact, the sooner you install a Ryco catch can to your vehicle, the better. Ryco provide both universal kits and specially engineered kits with mounting brackets and hoses to suit popular makes and models. With a Ryco catch can in place, the gases now enter the catch can first, which will trap and clean the vapour mix, passing it through a filter comprising of a high efficiency coalescing media, removing a key culprit to the build-up of carbon. Any hydrocarbon liquid, oil vapour and water condensation gathers on the media surface. When these particles form large enough droplets, they fall to the oil collection sump at the base of the unit. The filtered crankcase air is now drawn into the cylinders and burnt as intended. With a Ryco catch can installed, each time you service the vehicle, inspect and drain the filter. Different engines may require more frequent drain cycles based on their individual power and operating conditions. It's not just 4x4s with diesel engines that will benefit from a Ryco catch can. Petrol engines suffer from the same issue, especially those with GDI or direct injection fuel systems. Ryco continued to develop products with local engineers, and the current RCC351 catch can, or RCC351K, including universal fitting kit, has been designed for both petrol and diesel engines. The unit is also suitable for some unique applications, including the VW Amarok I'm fitting today. Check with your local Ryco stockists for a kit to suit your car and protect your investment.